Welcome back to Cracking On With The Sun and Happy Hump Day, although there hasn't been too much humping actually in that villa so
Amanda,
far.
I've got to stop you there.
Is there teeth again?
No.
Oh.
It's not a happy hump day. I'm in black because I'm mourning.
Ekin-Su and Davide?
Ekin-Su and Davide.
Yes.
Love Island.
Yes, me too.
Love Island's most iconic couple. Now, granted, it's been on and off since they first met, let's face it, since day one in the villa. But finally, Ekin called it quits yesterday.
Well, did she? I thought that was such a perfect statement from her, which pointed out about 3 times that she was the one to make the decision.
Yeah.
Followed by Davide's statement, which is a very mutual joint decision.
Okay.
I wonder who we believe.
I just think that, I feel like I'm almost the third person in that relationship because we at The Sun reported on that particular series of Love Island intensively. And I feel that we know every in and out of that relationship, and it's certainly been up and down. But I think it's fair to say that Ekin's career is now completely different to Davide's. She's heading out to America just at the end of this week to do all of her promo for The Traitors. Obviously now she's left the US version, which is aired on Peacock. So her career is just on a different level to Davide's. Like, he's doing well in his lane, all his fitness stuff, but Ekin's a superstar, isn't she?
I appreciate you calling me not a girl's girl, because in here, Molly, I've tried to do everything to protect you, to be honest.
Anyway, back to more current Love Islanders.
Yes.
Last night's show was a juicy one. I loved all of the drama. I loved all the fighting. We had Georgia S versus Molly. Whose side were you on?
What I always get really frustrated about with these Love Island rows is they're like, don't interrupt me, that's so rude. But don't interrupt me while interrupting. And then you're just acutely aware that, you're like, well, you were interrupting them. And I just thought it was both of them trying to be incredibly mature while not being that mature. What do you think?
I enjoy my politics as well as my showbiz.
Yes.
And that is a current theme in political interviews as well, where basically the TV presenter or the journalist and the MP or minister, whoever, they are sort of fighting to say something, and you get the MP sort of saying, don't interrupt me, you're not letting me finish a sentence, and you thought, well, you've had the whole interview, and it's just a way of them wasting time. And I feel like Georgia was sort of mimicking that in a way, because she was just wanting to be the one that was more in control. She was wanting to be, I guess, a bit of a victim to Molly's ranting and like, oh, you're not going to let me speak. It was her. This is our therapy again, the psychologist stuff that we're bringing in, just really highbrow.
Girls, you need to all come on Cracking on Ink and we will sort you out in our psychology shop.
Yeah, we should set them down. We should get a sofa in here and sit them down. We can just move up the set over here.
I definitely agree, though. It feels like a control thing, doesn't it? And definitely also agree that Georgia really wanted to be the victim in this. And as we know, having seen everything that she's been doing, she definitely overstepped the line with Tom. I think Tom was being quite clear with her.
And Georgia, I'm sorry, but you're being recorded. Where everyone knows what's happened.
Yeah.
And why are you trying to... She was being a real Pinocchio last night.
Yeah.
And I think she just knows that she's now not got a chance with Tom.
Yeah.
And so she's totally backtracking and embarrassing herself. It's very Georgia still, whatever year it was, 2017?
Yeah.
Whenever it was.
Yeah.
2019, because it's her, she had that same row with Laura Anderson, and they had about that kiss. Do you remember that? Oh my God, that moment of the kiss.
I remember.
And she was insisting that no, she didn't kiss this. I can't remember who it was now.
It Jack
Jacked,
Fowler?
yeah.
Yeah.
And I've replayed that clip so many times. I just found it hilarious how she denied it so much, and yet there she was leaning in.
We didn't. Wasn't there was that brilliant moment with Caroline Flack on After Sun where Caroline played a VAR style slow mo and different angles of the kiss.
See, Love Island isn't just reality TV. It's political. It's sporty. We've got it all here on Cracking On. And we also saw at the end of the episode the shock of Maya coming in.
Yeah.
And her announcing that there were going to be there's going to be some exits. There's going to be some dumping in that villa. And we had Liberty and Mitch kicked out.
Yeah.
I loved the way that they did it with the lining up of the... Because I think it gives everyone like a real sort of shake up. You know, this is... Were you surprised about Molly and Tom being to the top couple?
No, because I think that the Love Island viewers just love Tom. I think, as I've said before, he's the epitome of I'm 6'5", so I don't really need to do anything. But I think that he's a footballer. He and Sammy were lovely together, and I think they just love him. He's pretty inoffensive, isn't he? And then I think for the same reason, people like Molly. Like she's pretty. She's been quite girl's girl. And I do think that they are really good together. So I wasn't surprised by that. What I thought was a bit of a burn was poor Arabella and Toby were obviously right down the bottom as well. And I was thinking about how the first time round on Love Island, people didn't really like Arabella then, did they?
No.
And I thought, oh no,
it's happening
You're
again.
Just down there because people don't like Arabella.
But I do also think it's kind of because her and Toby have just ended up together because no one else wanted them, and it's just a bit of a convenience thing, isn't it?
True.
So I don't think you're voting for them. I don't know, I think it seems like a bit of a wasted vote, really. I totally agree with you about Molly and Tom, and I'm dying to see Georgia's reaction to that tonight. Because she must be livid. I mean, she'll be fuming that's... Because I think she's just been in her head, the show's gone completely differently to how she imagined.
I agree. I completely agree. Also, as we said yesterday, like Molly's starting to show a bit of sass and banter. Loved that line from her about "You've had my ex, and my next."
It was perfect.
Yeah. Do you think she practiced that in the shower?
Absolutely.
You know, I love to imagine this. I love to imagine Molly in the shower. That came out wrong.
Of course that she did, because those kind of lines, you know, that's the moment, isn't it? That's what's going to be put across on on socials, and if anyone's not watching the whole thing and they're just kind of getting it from TikTok or something, that's going to be the moment. And she comes across so brilliantly and sassy.
Someone else that had a great little one line is Liberty. So obviously Liberty and Mitch dumped from the villa. I think both took it pretty well. Kaz was obviously devastated to lose Liberty, but both were like,
facial expressions, I live for them.
Yeah.
She just really brings the drama. If you have a really good story to tell, I want to tell it to her so that she just gives me that reaction that you crave.
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you mean. But when Liberty came out the villa, quick words for the Sun as she left, which we were able to share in today's
That's brilliant,
paper.
Isn't it?
And she said, being with Mitch was like being with sunshine, rain and wind all in one.
Very poetic.
Isn't it? Almost poetic. But I completely see what she means. Mm-hmm. It's that trauma of, I don't know whether you've ever dated someone like this, where you have no idea where you stand ever. And it's like, do I say this sentence because which version of you am I going to get? And I always feel like with Mitch, that's the situation. You know, are you getting messy? Are you getting, I'm being nice to you? He's hot, he's cold, he's rain, he's wind. And I think she might have to come and have a chat at Cracking on Psychology Inc. because this probably hasn't helped her headspace to do with men, has it?
God, we could really help her, I think. Get her on that sofa or just talk it all through. Why she went for someone like Mitch. He was the worst person in there for her.
He was,
And I think he came across as a bit of a narcissist, and I think that kind of does tie in with what she's saying about the weather. Just someone they're just in their own space, aren't they? And they don't really care about you. But I think he did take it well. Their reactions were both a bit like, yeah, fair enough. But it must be disappointing because it's All-Stars and really their journey was just a bit rubbish, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so. And obviously now, because of the change in the way that All-Stars is filmed, at the top of tonight's show, we'll see Maya chatting with Liberty and Mitch.
Yes, that's so much better, isn't it? I love getting that, the initial reaction.
Yeah, because it's obviously before they've really looked at their phones and seen what the public are thinking. And I always used to feel like with the After Sun delay, sometimes you got quite rehearsed responses, didn't you? So I look forward to that in tonight's episode. But also at the end of last night, we saw that Casey and Joanna are heading in as
If
bombshells.
you blinked, you might have missed it, though.
Yeah.
It was quite hard to actually tell.
It really was.
I was watching it with a friend and she was like, wait, who is that? We need to rewind back. We need to see it. And I was like, I know.
Yeah. I mean, I just absolutely love this because I think we're going to get a completely different side to Tom, obviously. So Casey and Tom, 2 out of the 3 amigos from winter 2023.
R.I.P. the amigos, though, because they didn't last very long after that. It became the 2 amigos.
Yeah, poor Will Young, not evergreen.
No.
That's a niche.
Very niche. We might have to cut that out or else you have to translate it. Do you think
that?
Really?
Will Young, the pop star, his famous song is Evergreen. People get Amanda. Yeah. People will get that. Anyway, so I love that Casey's going in, but for more reasons than just it's going to give Tom a bezie. Casey, as we are rapidly learning with everyone that's going in that villa, has got links with girls already inside. So Georgia Harrison has always felt like Casey was the one that got away. So they hooked up after Casey had been in the villa. As we know, they all meet each other at events and on holidays and things. And Georgia really liked Casey. He was a cheeky chappy, goes to the gym but isn't obsessed with it. Got a bit about him, which we know Georgia likes. But Casey was like, I'm just having a really nice time. Like, I don't really want to get into anything serious. Yeah. Which I love from him, to be honest, because he wasn't trying to string her along and all that kind of thing. Well, from what we know. So I really look forward to seeing how that pans out. Yeah. But Flicks Tea Time, it doesn't go particularly well on tonight's show. So I thought this is perfect timing because Georgia has obviously just lost Mitch. That was her kind of growing connection in there. So Casey now arrives and she thinks, wicked, I can have another go with Casey. But no, she apparently is dumbfounded for Casey to walk in, and the words which we're hearing is frosty. It's a very frosty reunion. So potentially what we'd initially heard about Georgia and Casey isn't quite the situation, and maybe it's a bit more beefy. Ooh. So I look forward to that.
Oh, I can't wait for that.
But Casey's heading in there also with his eye on Molly Smith. So he actually is planning to steal his best mate Tom's girl. So
that is very Tom and Casey, their rivalry, I can imagine.
I know. And one of the things that Casey said on the way in, and I've got to tell you this because I think you'll love it. You know how everybody else has said, I've grown up, I've matured since last time. Casey said, everybody says that they've grown up and matured. I haven't changed one single bit.
It's probably worse
You're
now.
going to get the exact same me. But I think perfect time for us to hear from someone who knows that exact same Casey.
Yes. So we have spoken to Claudia Fogarty. So she is Casey's ex who was in the villa with him. And they actually ended up having a thing outside of the villa. Despite him, he dumped her for someone else while in there.
Yeah.
And then I was really upset about that. I won't lie. I don't think I'm quite over it because I thought they just really matched. And I loved their double dating situation with Tom and Sammy. Casey ruined that. And but then they kind of got it on the outside, but Casey's very much been in his lad going out era, having a ball with Tom. I mean, you can just imagine the two of them sidekicks to each other, chatting up all the girls. I would like to know their numbers. Actually, we're talking about Callum, we're focusing on Callum a lot, but we need to maybe
God.
Yeah, exactly. I would like to hear a little bit more about that.
Good on them, young, dumb, and fun.
Stop stealing my catchphrase. But yeah, no, you're totally right. Though it's going to be hilarious to sort of see the trouble, especially if he goes after his best friend's girl.
Yeah.
But I don't see Molly's head turning at all for Casey. I think that she's set on Tom now.
Yeah. Well, should we hear what Claudia's got to say?
Yes, let's see what she's got to say about it. Because watching her ex on TV while she's at home and loved up is going to be weird.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Casey. So do you know who he's going to make a beeline for?
I have a feeling. I mean, I think at first I thought Molly probably would have been his type, but I don't think he'd do that to Tom. I mean, they are that close that I really don't think he would steal Molly away. I think Georgia Harrison. I really, really think. Do you know what? I would have put them together from the start anyway. I could see them together. And now that Mitch is gone, obviously she's kind of single now, isn't she? So I do think that they would get on really well. I think they've met before, but I do really think that they would get on well. So I think it's going to be Georgia Harrison, because the other girls are kind of, who else is got, there's Liberty, Kaz. I just think George is very his type, so I think he'll go for Georgia.
So we've been told that you're absolutely right. It's Georgia Harrison was kind of the one that was on his mind. They've had a bit of history apparently, and she's very, very keen on hooking up with him when he goes into the villa. However, however, he is very tempted by Molly.
Yeah.
So that's what we're going to see. And I just can't wait to see how that all plays out and how that goes down with Tom, because I can't imagine it will go down well. They seem quite cozy.
Yeah, it's a weird one, because you don't, when you're in there, you obviously spend a lot of time with each other. And I think they are that close. I really don't think he would take Molly there. But then also, he's not really, him and Molly haven't had that actual, official together chat yet. Mm-hmm. So there is a chance. But I think he'll be watching it gutted, thinking, oh God, Tom's got Molly. But I do think that he will probably stick by Tom, and I don't think he would do that to him. I don't think he would anyway. I'd be shocked if he did, or unless something happens again with Budge Steele, I'm not sure. But
he wouldn't steal her off of him, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there could be something still happens with George. I mean, when I'm watching it at night, there's so much drama, so much going on. I can't keep up.
I know, it's been such a good series. I've loved it.
It has. It's just gripping. Like, every single episode's great. But if maybe Tom and George Steele get back together and something happens there, then you never know. Maybe he might go for Molly. But I think it's broke over them two. I don't think they'd switch over.
Sure. So the Georgia Harrison history that Casey's got is that she was really keen on him and he was keen on her, but he said he just wanted to have fun. He's in that stage where he's come out of the villa, just wants to have a good time. Do you think that he's now ready for love? When he's gone in, we sort of get a little chat with him beforehand, and Casey said he's not changed at all. You know how some people say, from my last experience, I've really grown up, I'm very mature now. Casey's like, no, absolutely exactly the same. So do you think he's going in there genuinely to find love, or just a bit of fun?
It's a weird one. I do think he's ready to settle down. I do think he would go in there to find someone, but everyone also knows his silly side. And I remember when I was in there, he loved being with the boys and just being silly. That was his character. He's just the silly one. He's like the Joker of the group. But it'll be interesting to watch, because I know that he likes to play pranks and he is that big kid. But I think if you spend that much time with people in there, that he could make a connection. I am seeing something with Georgia. I'm gonna literally say that I think they'll come out together as a couple. That's what I kind of predict. But I think he's ready. I think he just is this silly character. But I think it might take that one girl like Georgia to be like, actually, no, you know what? I want to settle down. But who knows?
So predictions. If Casey does break that bro code, how will Tom react to that? You said that you've mentioned that they argue like brothers. What would his reaction to Casey coming in and maybe trying to steal Molly? Would they have a big fight and fall out?
I don't think it would go down very well. But then, I don't think it would go down very well. I think it would break a bit of bro code there. I mean, if that was me in there and that was Sammy with a guy, there's no way I would go near that guy. So I do think it would cause a stir if he went for Molly. And then again, he might not have watched how close they've been, because I know when you're in there, the last couple episodes, you obviously have been in, so you want to be able to see what's been going on. So you might not know that they're so close yet. But yeah, I can't see him in doing that to Tom. And if he did, I think it would cause a bit of an argument between them.
Claudia, she's so nice, isn't she?
Yeah. Do you know what as well I loved is that I feel like a lot of the girls on Love Island are from Essex, and that's fab. I just thought Claudia's northernness was I just loved that. And I know that lots of people loved that. Yeah. But she must be lovely because she's northern, and I really get that from her.
It's funny that the northerners do gravitate towards each other.
Yeah.
But they're probably, they're kind of building that extra future, it's a bit closer, they don't have to travel.
Geographic's very important.
Yeah, very important. So when you see yourself in someone else, I never thought I'd say this, but I see myself in Anton.
Okay.
Because last night, when it was all kicking off between Georgia S and Molly, he didn't try and hide the fact that he was listening. He fully got involved to the point where he just sat himself down. It was a very popcorn meme moment, I think. He just sat down and he fully embraced the moment, and he was laughing and like really into it. And it's exactly what my face was like during the whole thing. Sort of jealous that he got this front row seat. But he just makes me laugh every day. I just love him.
Do you think he's kind of sort of almost accepted the fact that he's probably not going to find love, and it's just literally history repeating itself from his first time?
No, I don't think so, because you know when Kaz gave him that kiss, he was like, "Oh, is this something that you want to explore? Should we be pushing this romance right now?" During the game, and you're like, "No, she just kissed you because she didn't really know who else to kiss." So I think he holds real hope, which is a lovely attribute in life to have.
Yeah, bless him. My thing that I wanted to flag isn't necessarily on the screen, but I don't know if you saw on Maya Jama's stories yesterday, famously private obviously with her relationship with Stormzy, but she shared a screenshot of a text conversation with Stormzy, and in it she'd sent him a photo of her outfit, like the olive green dress that she had on, and was like, "Or this one, ? Like, which one shall I wear?" And he'd put this one, perfect combination of professional and sexy. And I was just like, this is not the conversation I thought Maya and Stormzy would have. I don't know.
No, I see that completely, because they kind of grew up together, didn't they? They were young when they met, and they've been through it all, and they've come from not being famous at all to now being two of the most famous people in the country. And I do think they kind of credit each other in a way, like they were each other's support going through all of that. And I mean, that's one of those kind of relationships that I just get a bit obsessed with.
Yeah.
Like, I just love them so much. And when he did that Louis Theroux interview, and he was talking about like his regret and how he hoped that someday they would kind of find their way back to each other, which I think was a turning point for them getting back together.
Oh yeah, it was like almost like an open letter.
I was obsessed with the whole thing, and I just thought that is so lovely, romantic, and all is forgiven. I'm just fully into it now. And the fact that he is obsessed with Love Island, it's just like ticks every box that you can imagine. He's perfect.
I've got a theory.
Okay.
Have you noticed that this year Maya's outfits are a little bit less flesh flashing?
Yeah.
She's a bit more covered up.
Yeah.
Like, she's still obviously like
I was going to say,
incredibly
you can't really
sexy.
cover that body up. Like, it's her figure. It's just insane.
But to me, it was really interesting that he said professional. Like, it's almost like she's like, I want to start. I know we've talked before about how she's now like Vogue cover model and, face of all these huge designers and brands and things. And I was like, oh, interesting. Like, maybe she is making a more conscious decision to, now she's a taken woman and a bit more grown up. Like, it's less about that bits of fabric held together with string. Love that though. And more, like, is she sort of consciously thinking of being a bit more professional?
I think so. And I think there also has to be, she has to draw a line between, she is the host. She's not one of the girls looking for love in that villa. Yeah. And I think the kind of outfits she was perhaps wearing, one, I felt sorry for the girls. Looking up and seeing that and thinking, oh, I can't compete. And so I think there needed to be a bit of a boundary. This is her job. She's the host. She's in charge. I just feel like we haven't seen as much of her this series. Do you think we'll get to sort of as the time goes on?
Which is interesting because obviously she's out there in South Africa for the duration. So I thought we'd see a lot more. Yeah. I think there's definitely been a few days of them just letting the drama bed in because there's been so much going on. We know they obviously react to how things are going on the show. So maybe they just didn't feel like they needed, that they have her there for those sort of dumpings and votes and that kind of thing. So, but I think we've got coming up 2 weeks, it'll be 2 weeks left at the end of this week.
Okay.
So I think they're going to have to start getting those people out.
Well, yeah. I mean, so we know that there's another 2 to go out, and we find that out tonight.
Yes.
I mean, which is it's going to be a massive. I guess like Casey coming in, and also we had Joanna.
Yeah.
we haven't spoken much about her actually, have we? But for them to both come in, will kind of, everyone gets excited about the new Bombshells and they kind of forget the 4 people who've just left. But it must be, that's quite an impactful moment of all of those people going.
Yeah, 4 going. And all the 2 that leave, I feel a bit sad about.
Oh no.
Tease.
Don't tell us, we don't want to spoil it.
Yes, I'll be interested to hear what you think. But yeah, we've not chatted about Joanna. Obviously, she was a Casa Amorian.
Mm-hmm. She was quite a legendary one, wasn't she?
Yeah, so she stole Michael off Amber Gill. Mm-hmm. So that was a big moment.
She kind of led Amber Gill to win. Because Amber, we know that she was with Greg for about a week before they won.
Minute.
And they were together for about a minute after.
Yeah.
And I think that it was a case of them, maybe just him like hopping on that bandwagon and actually claiming half that money that she really should have just had sold in. We all wanted her to win as a single person.
Yeah.
I wonder if that would ever happen.
Yeah, I mean that would be amazing, wouldn't it? If they well, like for example, Liberty, if her and Jake in that first series.
I think Hannah. I would have Hannah as my winner because I think she doesn't. Although there's been some people saying online about her last night, which really tickled me. But they are all obsessed with the fact that she just is on a free holiday and she's got no interest in finding anyone.
Yeah.
And that when the moment that she dumped Tyler last night,
yes,
and said quite brutally, it was like really out of the blue. I don't think he had a clue that was what she was going to say. And he sort of went, yeah, no, I see what you mean, yeah. And I thought, no, you don't at all. And the poor guy was just left really upset. And I thought, God, she's just like doesn't want the threat of her holiday to be taken away. Like, what if Tyler drags her down? I think she's just not willing to give it up. She's having a good time in South Africa. She wants to go all the way.
Yeah, love it.
And I think a lot of fans would back her to actually win the show solo. I'm one of them.
Yeah, I mean that would be such
For
a
her
moment,
outfits
wouldn't
alone.
it? Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, 100%. So Joanna.
Yeah.
As we know, they're all in there for a reason, not just a season. And she has history with Chris.
Right. Okay.
So Chris tonight reveals that he has slid into her DMs before.
Okay.
Whose DMs has Chris not slid into?
All of them, I think.
Not mine.
Yeah. We should point out.
That would have been most welcome.
I need to check my message requests. I'm sure it's in there somewhere. Absolutely.
Yeah, so I'm interested to see how that pans out because obviously he's not really got anyone at the minute, has he? He's just there stirring up the Callum situation last night. He's just in a friendship couple with Kaz at the minute.
Yeah, and Sophie's about to make it clear to him that, not bothered at all.
Yeah, so I would imagine he'll try and hop right on that. So it'll be interesting to hear whether she replied to that DM.
I wonder what kind of character she'll be going in because I don't remember her being hugely influential in that. I guess it was like the Michael thing, and then they got booted out quite quickly after that because people didn't like that she'd done that to Amber. So maybe we'll see a completely different side to her.
On the outside, she's like Bezzies with Katie McDermott, isn't she?
Yes,
they have the podcast together.
We need to get Katie on.
We should
I'm
definitely
do that. I'm going to try and get Katie on.
We should definitely have Katie to chat to us about Joanna. She'll be able to let us know if Joanna replied to that DM or not, won't she? So look forward to all of that tomorrow. And who else have we got coming up this week?
We've got Marcel.
Ooh.
Marcel, I need to, I'm interviewing him soon. So
Off of Blazing Squad.
Off of Blazing. I'm more excited about that. I love that. We've got loads coming up. But
super exciting. Brill, well, join us tomorrow for more tea, 5 o'clock every weekday.